today's video, we are going to do a deep dive into one of the best ways to provide pain relief in labor, and that is counterpressure. So counterpressure is a great tool to learn how to use, whether you are going to be laboring at home, whether you are interested in giving birth without meds. It is a tool for everyone's toolbox, and I've got some great tips to show you today. Now, we are going to go through 4 different ways to give counterpressure, but I'm also going to share my favorite secret to getting this actually done in labor. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Alice Turner. I am a doula, a childbirth educator, and on my channel you're going to find videos about birth. So if birth is your thing, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified the next time the video is put out. Now, the reason I'm doing this video today is because I put a poll in the subscriber community about which topic we want to go more in depth on, and counterpressure was the answer. So let's get started with that first way of providing counterpressure in labor now. Our first method is actually the one that I described in the counterpressure video that was done for the Big Wheel of Birth series. So this video, and it is called the one hand or the flat counterpressure. So the best way for me to show you what these look like is to show you on a real person. So I have recruited a model today, my oldest daughter, Lily. So for the one hand or the flat counterpressure, we are going to put our flat hand, kind of like a blade, right up against the lower back. It's actually like top of butt, lower back, where those meet, right here. So applying pressure for as much as we can. You can even do one hand like this. And the one hand or flat method is going to be great if we want to provide more of a gentle counterpressure. So it's not one that's going to be used if she's experiencing a lot of back pain or needing some extra pressure. It's a great one to start with because she can let us know whether or not we need more pressure. So flat one hand is going to be our first way to provide counterpressure in labor. The second way to use counterpressure in labor is to use 2 hands. So with our 2-hand technique, we have the flexibility of covering more of a hip area or the top of the pelvis. So we can put the palms of our hands here and around the sides of our hips so we can get a little more targeted pressure. We can also put our thumbs like this if we want to. Here, I'll show one hand. Thumbs like this. Apply pressure that way. So 2-hand technique. You can see it in this picture. So the doula in this picture is using their hands to provide counterpressure, 2 hands. And also in this picture where dad is using more of a thumb technique to provide counterpressure. So that's the 2-hand technique. So now we're on our third technique, and that is using our fist. So you ball up your fingers into a fist, and you can use it to provide counterpressure right on her back. So a lot of times people want the pressure right at the top of their pelvis, right here, kind of on one side of their tailbone. Again, it's going to be that lower back, top of the butt. Now, as you can see with this, we can provide a lot of targeted pressure. So if they are experiencing a lot of pain in their back, this might really be a great one to go to. So in this picture, you can see that a doula is providing counterpressure with her fists, and while mom is sitting on the ball, and she has the support of her partner in front of her. That is a great technique too if you're using a doula. So our fourth and final technique of providing counterpressure, we use a tool, and that is a ball. So you can use a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, you can use a moon ball, some type of hard ball, and you use the ball with your palm of your hands to push down in the spot that's needed and press counterpressure with that ball. So you can also do some massage with the ball as well. And then when the contraction starts, you can stop and use counterpressure. So the ball is going to be a great way to have some very targeted pressure. The other exciting thing about the ball is that you can use it by yourself. So you can put the ball up against your lower back and lean on it. Do you hold this? As you can see in this picture, we have a support person that is using a ball to do counterpressure. So this is a great example of how you can do counterpressure in a kneeling position. Kneeling and leaning over a ball is a great way to also provide counterpressure and as an alternative to leaning up against a wall or leaning on something else. So speaking of leaning really helps when you are applying counterpressure. So pregnant person should be leaning so that you don't apply counterpressure and push them over. This picture is a great example of what it looks like if someone isn't leaning and they're getting counterpressure. She does not look happy here. I really suggest leaning when you're going to do counterpressure. You don't have to just lean against a wall. You could lean against a ball, like we showed in that other picture. You could lean against a counter, even a kitchen counter. You can kneel and lean against a couch. So many options for forward leaning, but that's really a great position so we can apply counterpressure. Okay, so our 4 ways to provide counterpressure in labor. We have our one hand, our 2 hands, our 2 fists, and our ball. So now, here is my favorite tip on how to really make this happen in labor. So if you've watched any of my videos, this might sound familiar, but you've got to practice. Please practice before the big day. I mean, I'm not talking about hours and hours of practice. I'm talking about maybe a couple times, maybe for even hanging out, watching TV, waiting for your show to start. Practice these techniques because when you practice them, they're going to feel so much easier, more comfortable when you use them in labor. So please practice these tips. And now, the second way to make sure you get the most out of this when labor actually happens. So I'm speaking really to partners right now. So if you're the pregnant person, make sure your partner watches this part specifically. Don't be a deer in headlights when labor starts. You know that expression, when the deer is crossing the street and the headlights come, they freeze up and they don't know what to do. I don't want you to be like this in labor. So when you see someone in labor, when your partner's in labor, don't be afraid to try out these techniques. Don't forget. So since you've already practiced them before, it's going to be really easy for you to remember, oh, I should try some counterpressure. There are 4 techniques that I should try. Now, if you could use some more great tips like this, check out the Supporting Her online course for partners. It is our signature childbirth course. It's a little bit over 2 hours and it really packs in some great tips so that partners can provide some great support. So check out the links down below and I'll see you guys next time.